but we are here today to bring you the first event for UFC 4 with the ESFL, us. My name is Bailey and thank you for joining us tonight. We have a stacked fight card for you this evening.
That's gonna be a finish. Mally gets in there again, even though you're rattled. Oh yeah. And we'll go down some.
And I'm still the best player on this earth!
The Esports Fight League has seen incredible growth since the launch of UFC 4 in August 2020. Hundreds of events, thousands of fights, an official summer series sponsored by the UFC, a $5,000 GOAT tournament, and yeah, the very first ever ESFL Live event in Vegas, HyperX Arena, back in 2022. Despite its flaws, we gotta admit UFC 4 gave the community a lot of entertainment over the years, and it really paved the way for opportunities to win some serious cash and prestige. We at the ESFL just can't wait to parlay that success into bigger rewards and events for this whole community when UFC 5 launches. As the sun sets on UFC 4, let's listen to some of the best stories from ESFL champs, staff, and supporters. I'll start with my best memory of UFC 4, easily ESFL Las Vegas. I mean, some people know the background, but let me tell you, this event had to be rescheduled, and it almost fell through again in the 11th hour. But somehow we made it happen. Like Goku says, where there's a will, there's a way. Being able to meet the other ESFL owners, as well as dozens of the best fighters from the world, literally people coming from around the world, and it was an opportunity of a lifetime. Definitely showed me, the owners, and I think a lot of people in the community that we got something special going on. And it was everybody that attended that made it happen. So I think it was such a success, and I think people saw that our next event, my goal, double the attendance and add a 0 to the prize pool. Man, I can't wait to grind and make that happen. I'll see you guys in the boiler room, and I'll see you here on the ESFL, Twitch, and YouTube.
What's good? It's Big Bone doing work. One of the greatest simulation style players in the whole ESFL and the whole league. I'm going to just break down my favorite ESFL UFC 4 moment. So it was the very first UFC 4 ESFL event that we had. They had me up against a top 3 player. His name was Dino. At the time, he was wrecking everybody. He was top 3. I honestly felt like they was matching me up against him just so he could have a good showing. Like, I felt like Nate Diaz being matched up against Khamzat on his way out, and they was just going to sacrifice me to Khamzat. But that's basically how I felt. So, you know what I'm saying? First round goes down. He takes the first round. Second round goes down. It's like in the middle. And, you know what I'm saying? I knew I had to knock this guy out. So I just baited this guy. Called him reaching, and guess what happened? I put him to sleep. I'm telling you, nobody expected me to win. Like, if it was a betting line, I was like a plus 1,000. And I shocked everybody that night. You know what I'm saying? People was going crazy. Nobody expected that. I was like maybe a top 30 player, and I just knocked out a top 3 player. You know what I'm saying? Just always put your heart in the game. You know what I'm saying? That's my favorite ESFL UFC 4 moment.
Alright guys, I've had a lot of people asking me, as the UFC 4 game comes to an end, what was the best moment in UFC 4? And for me, that has to be ESFL 150. Now when you think ESFL 150, how could you think anything besides GOAT versus Nas? You know, we had the passing of the guard as well as people saw this fight. We had the grizzled vet GOAT taking on the young up-and-coming Nas. Outside of that, we also had the co-main event, which was the Xbox tournament. A lot of people forget about that. Fadinator was able to defend his titles against a bunch of former champions in the likes of TD Holloway, EK Trixie, and BFAP Dirty Dave. And, you know, on top of all that, listen, you'll say every fight has great fights. Every card has great fighters on it. What made this card so special was the press conference we did. This was a one-time only event that we've done so far at the ESFL. We had the likes of fighters and reporters come in, ask questions. You know, fighters were able to create a little banter. And really, this added so much to the Nas versus GOAT debate. You know, obviously Nas had a chip on his shoulder. A lot of people just saw him as a TikToker. That wasn't a real fighter. And of course, GOAT, you know, he was saying, listen, kid, you're great, but it is not your time yet. And that is what he was able to prove at ESFL 150. He wasn't just talk. He was the show. He walked the walk, talk the talk. GOAT was able to really claim and show why he was one of the greatest players in UFC 4 history. And, me personally, being a part of that production as a form of being on the analyst desk and being a reporter in the press conference really made it special in, my own eyes. Honestly, I think it was the best event we had held all year, all season with UFC 4, and I think it sets a great example for what we can do in UFC 5, how we can make this sport greater, and this game greater. Ladies and gentlemen, ESFL 150, if you have not seen it, go rewatch it. Great card, and best of luck to UFC 5.
Favorite fight of the season for me, well, the season I competed in, was definitely when we fought Dark and who was it? Ozzy Kid fought Swiss Liebex, I believe it was. It was either Swiss Liebex or Papadoc. It was one of those people. I believe it was Swiss Liebex when he used who was it? He used Sean O'Malley, and then Ozzy had Petteryon. That was an extremely great fight. Probably one of the the heights of Toon Squad and everything. That was a good time.
My journey with the ESFL during the era of UFC 4 has been nothing short of transformative. Stepping into the role of a commentator, I've had the honor of translating the virtual octagon's intensity and strategy into stories that resonated with fans everywhere. Each fight brought its own challenges and exhilaration, but nothing prepared me for the crescendo of our first ever live event at the HyperX Arena. Walking into that space, feeling the tangible energy of the crowd, and knowing that our words would bridge the gap between the virtual and real worlds was awe-inspiring. That event wasn't just a milestone for the Esports Fight League, it was a testament to the community we've built, the passion we've shared, and the future of the UFC 4 and UFC 5 esports. It's been a privilege to be a voice for the ESFL, and as I reflect on our time with UFC 4, I'm filled with gratitude for the memories and anticipation for what's next in UFC 5. The future is bright, boys. Are you ready? Because I know I am.
So ESFL will be here, guys. Don't worry. UFC 5, 6, 7, 8, however many we do, we are not going anywhere. And thank you for tuning in every single week.